Hello, my name is Superman.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you!
Superman was everywhere in the late 50s, even in some places you wouldn't think to look for him. Case in point, today's topic, the I Love Lucy episode titled Lucy and Superman. This may just have been the most unexpected crossover ever created at the time. While I Love Lucy at times could deliver comedic insanity and absolute chaos, it was still a show that was very much grounded in some sense of reality. The prospect of a crossover between this and the at the time biggest superhero show seemed so implausible that it might as well have been impossible. But this episode managed to find a happy medium, one that created a story for fans of both beloved series. In this episode, it's revealed that Lucy and Ricky's son is a big-time Superman fan, catching every episode of the show when it comes out, and making sure he's in his officially licensed Superman cape while watching. Man, where do you get one of those? I gotta pick me up one.
Oh, wait a minute now. Superman always takes his cape off before he goes to bed.
Little Ricky has a birthday coming up. Problem is, his best friend and classmate, Little Stevie, also has his birthday planned on the same date. In order to beat her frenemy mom, Caroline, and ensure that Ricky's party has plenty in attendance, Lucy promises that the Man of Steel will make an appearance. Which, ironically enough, isn't the only time a Superman has been asked to attend a boy named Ricky's birthday party. It's a very oddly specific plot point to be recycled.
It's weird that it happened twice, right?
Considering that Big Ricky has already met the man off screen in Hollywood, he agrees to ask him to show up while he's in town, only to find that he can't make an appearance as he has a flight to catch. Later on, Lucy's best friend Ethel accidentally advises her to instead play the part herself, in lieu of George Reeves. So of course she does what anyone in her situation would do. She dresses up as Superman, complete with a chest emblem and a helmet to hide her red locks. Lucy hides out on the ledge of their apartment building, planning to jump through the window to surprise everyone the way Superman would. But being as this is Lucy and I Love Lucy, things don't go according to plan. And instead she becomes trapped outside that window, at first being locked out, and then later on getting caught on the storm drain. While she's missing the party isn't missing a Superman, as an uncredited George Reeves shows up to the delight of all the children in attendance. Now, what's important to note here is that nowhere in this episode is Superman ever referred to as George Reeves, or even as an actor in general. The show was playing fast and loose with the validity of this Superman. As a matter of fact, this episode really tries to toe the line, making Superman still feel like Superman to younger audiences, but also subtly letting older audiences know that they're in on the joke and Superman is more man than super. The children treat Superman as the hero they believe him to be, but the adults treat him like a star, occasionally making a passing quip about his lack of powers, like having Ricky meet him in Hollywood, or having Lucy question why Superman would have to take a plane. This episode kinda puts things into perspective for me. The fact that George isn't credited really lends credit to the fact that George Reeves at times felt that playing Superman was a thankless job. They couldn't even be bothered to credit the actor for his performance because it might ruin the persona. Granted, their reasoning here does make some sense. Superman was a national treasure at the time, an icon in the flesh to many child fans. Point blank, most kids didn't know that Superman was just an actor in pajamas, and most parents didn't want to ruin their childhood and tell them otherwise. This was like Santa on an even grander scale. Lucille Ball noted that she decided not to credit George Reeves as Superman to keep the legend of Superman alive and not dissuade children from being children. She wanted them to enjoy their hero and believe a man could fly. Her reasoning for this was because she was a parent herself, and her children loved Superman. Even the children on set, paid actors, believed that George Reeves was the real deal.
George Reeves was my personal hero as Superman. And we're all actors, but I'm thinking, this guy's really super, you know? He's Superman to me. You just want him to be super. I mean, you just wanted him to be super and as a kid, and he was. Nice guy, and he was really nice with kids. Posed with me. I had my little Superman cape on, Superman outfit on. I still have that picture today.
Which is kind of adorable. They knew what acting was. They'd been a part of paid productions. They were in one right now. But even with all of that, they didn't equate that Superman series with on-screen work. Stories like this really make you feel like there was some magic in the world back then.
Our guest star tonight was George Reeves, star of the Superman series.
Superman goes to leave, dismayed that he didn't get to meet the show's titular character, before this cast of characters realize the show's star is still trapped outside. Little Ricky suggests that Superman go save her, and he doesn't bat an eye in doing so, ending the episode with a lighthearted jab between the two protagonists.
You mean to say that you've been married to her for 15 years?
Yeah, 15 years!
Then they call me Superman.
Despite the fact that Superman barely appears in this actual episode, he makes an impression. He has a short stay on screen, but it's really time well spent. He comes off as charming and confident. By all means, despite this being meant to be George Reeves, he comes off as Superman. Which shouldn't be a surprise, as this episode was intended to blur the lines as much as possible. But maybe that's also because those lines outside of the show were blurred a little bit as well. By all accounts, George Reeves cared a great deal for his fans. He found Superman to be a curse to his career, but he also knew what a respected role model he was to children, and he took that job very seriously. So him going out of his way for a bunch of young fans isn't as outrageous of a concept as one might think. I'm not saying this man of tomorrow was making house calls or anything, but I think this episode highlights his real-life good nature. This was a real nice episode because it didn't do anything to take away or mock the iconic show, and it paid respect to it in a way that didn't discredit its own narrative either. This felt like a loving nod to the other series, with a lot of the jokes surrounding Superman actually pertaining to a specific show. They weren't insulting their own audience by insisting that Superman was real, but it also wasn't sweeping the rug out from underneath the kids who might have been watching. It's a brilliant crossover that I think properly portrayed both brands, and did so in a way that was tasteful and clever. There are a couple other things that I've noticed about this episode that I think are worth noting, but I don't know where to put them, so here they are. Supporting character Carol Appleby, Carolyn, Lillian, I don't know, it seems to change over time. The character was referred to as all of the above at some point or another. Whatever her name was, she was played by Doris Singleton, who, interestingly enough, got her start acting on The Adventures of Superman. There are also several shared actors who made appearances on both shows, but there's just too many to list, and that's neither here nor there. I'm singling this actress out specifically because she was in this episode. Does it count as a reunion if one of the two actors is playing a completely different character and they don't have any real interaction in the episode whatsoever? Asking for a friend. Another notable face is this woman who sees Superman out on the ledge of the building. This actress is Madge Blake, and she'd later go on to play Aunt Harriet in the 1966 Batman series. Overall, I think this is a really interesting piece of Superman media and a great episode of I Love Lucy. You can go into this having zero knowledge of either show, and you could still find some enjoyment in this episode as is. If you haven't checked it out, highly recommend you do. With that being said, if you like this video and want to see more Superman content here on this channel, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
"This guy is Superman."
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.